Hey guys, it's me, Brian12, and today I'm going to look at the complete family tree of the Lion King. Now let's get started. First, we are going to start off with Ascari. Ascari was the second born of another king and queen, and Ascari would eventually become the leader of the first Lion Guard. And Ascari would eventually raise his next son, Mohattu. I don't know if Mohattu is Ascari's dad, but whatever. And then Mohattu's parents, maybe Ascari, adopted Kovu's non-biologically, non-blood-related brother named Choyo, aka the Selfish Lion. Choyo would mate with a lioness called Amani, and together they had their first daughter named Uru. Uru would eventually go on to be friends with Ahadi and eventually become mates and become king and queen of the Pride Lands after Mohattu passed away. Then they had their firstborn Mufasa and their second-born Scar. Scar spent most of his time with the hyenas as Uru was there for him, but he was jealous of not being the heir of the throne. Mufasa would go on to mate with Sarabi and become king and queen of the Pride Lands. Sarabi was friends with Sarafina, who had an unknown mate, who some people assume as Ni, while others assume it as Scar. Then they had their firstborn, Simba, who is not Sarafina's son, but Mufasa and Sarabi's son. Simba was one of the greatest kings of the Pride Lands, who would go on to be friends with Sarafina's daughter Nala, although not friends with Nala's little brother Mitu. Nala eventually became mates with Simba, and they became king and queen of the Pride Lands. Then they had their firstborn, Kopa. They had 3 kids, or 2 kids, or 1 kid, whatever kind of Lion King fan you like to be. Then, some people started making theories that Kopa actually died. Yeah, Kopa looked like he died, but he was actually just in a coma and returned as an adult. But that's probably another story, I don't know. Then they went on to have their second-born, Kiara. Kiara is what they call the firstborn, as Kopa was never canon, and he was only featured canon in fan art and the stories released after The Lion King. Kiara would eventually mate with Kovu, who would have 2 siblings, Nuka and Ratani. And eventually Kiara and Kovu would have 3 kids, Leah, Asha, and Koda. Then they had their third-born, or second-born, Kion, who eventually became the leader of the new Lion Guard, and eventually went on to mate with Rani at a place called the Tree of Life. And no, it's not Rafiki's tree. Some people assume that Kion didn't have any sons or daughters, because, it's not really suggested, as we never see them as adults in the show. But one thing's for certain, we can all clearly that they have 2 kids, Connie and Ryan, who I think this is Connie. That's the end of the Lion King family tree. Anyways, that's all, folks.